I wanted to first of all say thank you, guys, for your support, and thank you again for just helping me get to over 290,000 subscribers. But today we're going to be talking about Gen-3 Alpha. Okay, so many of you are familiar with Sora. First, this one was the text to video generation tool that first came out that everyone was so impressed with. We were all blown away by Sora, right? And then along came Kling AI, right? And you can see some of the work that they've done here. We just play a little bit of it so you get a sense of what it looks like. I mean, there's still issues around it. You can see, some of the problems of keeping the the body, the physiology of a human being on a bike. And also, I mean, it looks pretty cool in terms of an early version, and I mean, you can see the foliage still has some issues here and there. And off to the left, you can see the light looks great because you can see the direction of the lighting. And so that was Kling, right? And then just recently, just a few days ago, Runway introduced Gen 3 Alpha. And I think this is probably going to be the big competitor of Sora more than anything, because Runway already has a leg up in terms of using prompts to generate content, like videos and photography and all that. But I think what I would want to show you is some of these are the prompts that they were using, right? So it's the subtle reflections of a woman on the window of a train moving at hyper speed in a Japanese city. We saw this, this example back when Sora first came out, and they did almost like a similar shot of a lady who was in a train station. And I think this is incredible. Here you can see how the light is playing as the light of the train is traveling past in the background. You can see like how it plays against the hair, right? You can see the depth of field. But more importantly, the lighting, as the lights of the train, or as the train passes these other parts, another train, you can see the light playing on the face of the character. This is very impressive. And you can even see it in the eyeballs. That is amazing. I think this is an improvement from Sora. And the fact that this is a Runway is promising to have this sooner than Sora. I think the competition is heating up. This is incredible. This is amazing that they're able to do this now as we're speaking, right? So I wanted to show you this part, but then there's also another video that I wanted to look at. And this is the prompt is an astronaut running through an alley in Rio de Janeiro. So still having the same issues of consistency you can see how the camera is pulling away, and the textures of the buildings are changing. In real life, that doesn't happen, right? You can still see things like on the left-hand side here, it's struggling to maintain the consistency. I mean, like there's a guy in the window right there, but the reflection, you can see the reflection from across, which is impressive. And you can also see the reflection in the helmet, the visor of the astronaut. I don't know where he's going, but he's running for his life. He's definitely on Earth, or maybe hyper Earth somewhere. But this is impressive to see the progress. And I think the one thing that Sora had trouble with was the legs. As the character would run, you would see like an issue of the left, excuse me, and the right leg kind of having trouble like showing up, So this is an improvement on Sora for sure. And this is just the early version of this, this version of Gen 3 Alpha, and it's only gonna get better, And up at the top here, you can see like the highlight video of how like you flying through like a dense fog or clouds or some kind, and it's revealing this, like you can see the consistency staying put right there. There's a little bit of flicker in the materials of that, but that's what I'm looking for. Like when we are creating like shots made shot from like a drone, you want that consistency because that's what the human eye is expecting. And that's what, as a cinematographer, as a photographer, those are things that you want to see maintained, right? And so here, to see that the things are still changing is, I mean, you can see the AI is struggling. I mean, it's essentially creating an environment out of just a simple text prompt. You've not described what the wall is supposed to have, what should it have, graffiti or not. Because it's drawing from this pool of probably footage from Rio de Janeiro of people that have shot over time, and it's assuming and plotting things down on the walls as it go by, because they really don't make sense. It's just an impression of what it thinks should be. And also you can see the text is changing, right? Now, this is impressive. This is underwater, and the prompt is an FPV flying through a colorful coral-lined streets of an underwater suburban neighborhood. You can see that you get a sense that this is underwater, guys. It's impressive. You can see the fish swimming, but the fish sometimes turn into other things, So there's still that issue of consistency, like understanding a world, like how we've experienced it as human beings is different from just trying to get pixels together and trying to recreate it out of thin air without a camera having shot it. So this is a long way from being convincing, but you can get a sense of where this is headed, and you feel like you're definitely underwater, right? You can see the fish, and you can see the the light from the the shadow coming down like almost gold rays into the water, and also this pattern on the ground here. That is amazing. This is really, really impressive that they're able to do this in this early version of Alpha 3. And so Sora, we've had examples of other people who have used Sora sharing some of the content, but as we've come to find out that some of those things weren't even completely done with Sora. There was a lot of editing that was involved. So I'm wondering if some of this also has, they have some other things that they're doing. Nowadays, it's almost like smoke and mirrors. But it's amazing that to see the quality of where this is headed and how you're able to create this underwater kind of feel. It's very, very impressive, guys. And I think as they continue to do this and show the different improvements, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with and the subtle improvements along the way. So let me go to the next one. Now this, again, it's those subtle things that the human eye is expecting. Consistency of the windows. It really looks great. This prompt is handheld tracking shot at night, following a dirty blue balloon floating above the ground in an abandoned old European street. Abandoned. I think that's what they're trying to say. And so this, again, I love the lighting. I love the shadows, but still the consistency of the textures on the balloon. You can see it's changing, but naturally that's not supposed to change unless if you're doing special effects and that's what you're trying to achieve. But it's not really convincing yet as the subject itself. So here on the walls on the left hand side, you can see issues. The light looks great, and at some point you can see a flare up over here on the right hand side. The light is bouncing off nicely, and you can see the reflection of that light over here. That is really, really nice, I think. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is back to that lady who's on the train, and then down here we have some more examples, right? And I think I think it's going to take artists actually getting their hands on to this technology for us to truly see the power of this whole platform, right? So here, again, this particular, let me see what the prompt, does it have a prompt? Yes, so the prompt is an empty warehouse dynamically transformed by flora that explode from the ground up. So if I open that up, So that's where the flora is exploding from the ground up. Now, this is impressive, guys. I think that's amazing that it's able to do that. So imagine, like, if you're doing like a sci-fi movie, these are shots that are you're gonna be able to just prompt and be able to just create a shot out of that. That is impressive, right? This would have had to be simulated. You would have had to have like a plant system of some kind, uh, either in the Unreal Engine or in a 3D program like Maya, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D. But the fact that you're able to do this, because in the real world, there's no way for you to do that where plants are just growing out of the ground. These are shots that are out of like I guess like physical capability of for us to recreate. So this is like one of those things that only CG can really bring to life. And I think this is where AI is kind of shining in a way, is that impossible shots that you can't really shoot with a camera. Maybe you can recreate this, like maybe you have like some plants on like a device that's being raised up, and then you have the plants coming off. But this is to be able to just create, like write a prompt, and then for someone to you just generate this out of thin air is amazing. And then so this one is a prompt close-up shot of a living flame wisp darting through busting fantasy market at night. This is impressive also. Again, you're looking at the depth of field. I think as a photographer, this is something that is really, I find this very impressive. In the way it's capturing the light and changing form and still maintaining the depth of field. You know, these are, again, one of those impossible shots that you can't just create something in real life and then just whisk it around. You need CG of some kind, right? Let's go to the next one. This balloon. So I think they're trying to capture some of the impressive shots that were shown by Sora. So here they had to include a balloon, I guess, for this to be impressive, or for us to compare and see what the result. So remember, there was a balloon flying through the air in one of the Sora videos. So this is one of those shots. I mean, it looks beautiful, and you can see the reflection and the glint on the left hand side as the camera flies away, and you can see the lens glare. So this is, I mean, simple, but again, remember, this is again AI generated. This is AI generated. So let's try another one. This is a prompt FPV shot zooming through a tunnel into a vibrant underwater space. And this is more like fantasy kind of theme. And if you're trying to recreate undersea, like underwater kind of environment, I mean, there's still some things that are disconnected. You know, some of them look like they're supposed to be fish, but they're not quite there yet. So, I mean, the reason I'm looking at all of these examples is that looking at what Sora has done, right? And then Kling AI is doing as well, right? This is a competition now between these three. These are the most impressive ones that I've seen so far, I think, right? And so as we continue to see improvements, I mean, there are bound to be other platforms that are going to come on the scene now. For Kling AI and of course Sora, these are platforms, I guess. Sora, because maybe they held on too long before releasing this, they've kind of fallen behind because other players are coming onto the scene. And I mean, look at this, for example, for Kling AI, being able to like recreate that, like a cup of this is amazing, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing the same kind of content coming from Gen-3 Alpha, and more. Right now we're just seeing more of camera shots flying through the air. We haven't seen simulation just yet. Maybe this is simulation over here, a little bit of it, but overall I think it's mostly nature shots and like some close-up of human faces. And so here's one which is like a monster. It's almost like Godzilla. Let's see what the prompt is. So the prompt is: view out of a window of a giant strange creature walking in rundown city at night, one single street lamp dimly lighting the area. So yeah, that's what you get. So this is very impressive because you can tell that it's behind a glass pane, you know, and which is very, very nice. And you can see the light that it's casting the light on the monster. I mean, there's some distortions here and there, and I'm trying to see if the legs switch out because Sora used to struggle with that. Right leg, left leg, right. Yeah, so it wasn't long enough for that. So, but this is again getting better and better. And I think some of the things that it's doing really well are these shots of human beings in vehicles and being able to capture like the different parts of the window. Like it really looks really like convincing. And I think these are the kind of shots that are going to be used more and more. If you're looking at for B-roll, if you're telling, like if you're creating like a documentary of some kind, I think this is where it will probably shine through. But you know what's odd is that I'm looking at this person, I'm like, this looks like a person that would actually exist, you know? I wonder if someone there whose video was used to as like training data, if you look at this and you say, but that looks like me, you know, I was in a car driving, or I don't know if someone was, because if this is a left-hand drive, they'll probably be in the US, but she doesn't look like she's driving. So probably if it's right-hand drive, then that is somewhere in Europe or in Africa. So probably she was a passenger of some kind. So maybe was it like a person? I'm thinking about the source footage, for example, right? So anyway, let's move on. So here's some kind of simulation that I was looking at. And you can see it's blending between water, and you see like a sense of like this portal of almost like magma, you know, going in deep inside. So that is, I guess, fluid simulation, you would say, but it's not to the level of Sora just yet, right? Because it's more like special effects blending in like two shots, really. So this is getting there, I think. And the more I look at these shots, guys, I'm thinking, you know, of course, jobs for cinematographers and photographers, I mean, those things are going to be a challenge to kind of pull off until this system and these platforms become convincing and really capture realism. And like, I'm looking at the logos of some of the textures of this environment. There's still things that the system is struggling with. And I think that's going to be a problem until that is solved. Those problems are solved. Just getting things out of thin air just with prompts is just not enough, you know. So they may need more data sets of like the kind of content that they can draw from the AI to learn from. And then, so this here is another shot that I was concerned about, like to see how well it would do. Is that the left leg, that's supposed to be the right there. So Runway, this Alpha 3, Gen 3 Alpha, is also having the same issue with Sora. Is that there's an issue with the legs flipping back and forth. For some reason, AI, just like with fingers, AI is struggling to maintain left and right. You know, the feet just keep switching back and forth. Even for human beings. So I think that's like a challenge. But overall, up at the top, you can see the bird looks really cool. And the prompt is a dragon toucan walking through the Serengeti. Yeah. So, and then of course, there are more fantastical things like this of an empty warehouse where flowers start blooming from the concrete, you know. So again, I'm going to continue looking at this technology with, of course, an eye as a cinematographer, as a storyteller, wondering how this is going to play into like how we create movies going forward, right? And I'm praying that this becomes ethically produced. But of course, there's no telling where all this, you know, the data sets of this content is coming from, because a lot of it was from public domain videos. And so I've had instances where they're talking about even probably Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So it's kind of, you get this feeling that I don't know if I want to use this content if it was illegally, you know, obtained. But it doesn't take away from how impressive the technology is advancing, right? Here's another shot, and you can see how the light is playing against the face of the human being. So they are doing this really well. I mean, this part they've, I think, nailed down like this consistency of how the character looks, even the hair. you don't see the hair moving too much or changing too much, right? This is very impressive when it comes to like faces. It's almost like Mid Journey, but with video. So this is cool. And let me see if there's another shot. Okay. So this is a let's see what the prompt was. The prompt is a pink pig running fast toward the camera in an alley in Tokyo. This is interesting because I love the simulation of the weight of the fat of this pig. You can see how the skin is shaking. That is really cool. The only issue that I have with this shot is, of course, if you look at the textures of the buildings. I'm saying textures because I'm thinking this is generated as it's being generated. It has to apply something to the walls of the buildings as it's running by. But overall, this is very impressive in terms of the fur. It looks cute. The eyes are staying consistent. And again, I was looking for the reflection of the buildings in the eye. I mean, they're subtle. You don't get like a sense that it's messing up too much, right? And then let's try and see if there's another one. So that's the same one. So guys, when you get a chance, go visit Runway ml.com, the blog introducing Gen-3, and I'll put the link in the description of this video so you can check out some of the new things that are coming. And they're saying this is coming soon. Hopefully it will be in our hands to be able to test it out. I mean, if you remember Sora, this has been like kind of a gated platform. You can't really get access to it except for people who were given early access, and that was really difficult to get into. So Runway, I'm hoping that this will come sooner to us and we'll be able to use it so that I can actually give you my first take over like how I used it, how I was able to create, what I was able to create with it. But overall, it's amazing how the world is changing right before our eyes. Our industry is being impacted and it's changing rapidly. Guys, I would love to hear from you what you think about this whole wave of AI with a text to video generation. What you think of Runway if you've used it, this version of Gen-3 Alpha, and what do you think in comparison to OpenAI, Sora? Which one do you think is better? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I have some thoughts, and I'll really look forward to interacting with you in the comments. And thank you for everyone that has joined me today. Again, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for the patrons. Thank you for helping me get to right now we're at 296,000 subscribers. An amazing journey. And I'll continue to talk about this technology whenever I see something that comes on the scene. I'm going to do my best to share my thoughts and share what I think this is going to impact and how we can utilize it. But overall, there's a video that I saw of it wasn't Gen-3 Alpha. It was a different platform. And that one, I think, let me see if I can go back. Which platform was that I was looking at? Yeah, that is Luma AI. Luma AI has this new ability to do text to video as well. And there was like a clip that I shared that they've actually created a sequence of an animated almost series purely from prompts. And so that's where we're headed. It's almost like as artists, we really have to think of how we can diversify our skill sets, I think. But what I encourage you guys is not to give up. Don't give up being creators. Don't give up being imaginative every single day, because these, just like photography and painting, there's a time when photography came on the scene and it seemed like painters, like traditional painters, were going to go out of business. But I think AI is a little bit different because it's drawing from a data set of artists from all over the world where they took their content to generate some of this. Of course, they are saying that some of this is going to be licensed content. But as creators, as animators, as storytellers, as cinematographers, as photographers, I mean, you can't help but feel like, okay, what's next for me? And so I would like to continue having that conversation with you guys. Let's discuss. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I want to hear how you guys are navigating these challenges, because I've been thinking of going back to painting, but I'm also thinking that it's very important as creators to think about actually IP. And for me, my focus now is on working on our IP, The Adventures of Nkoza and Nancha, so that I can control what we're able to create. And actually that has more scalability than a lot of other things. I would love to be able to employ other artists and animators and illustrators and things like that, because I believe in human-made art. I truly believe in that. So keep me in your prayers as well, because I want to provide jobs to other people, for artists out there. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. Please stay blessed, dare to dream big, don't give up on your dream, and as always,